What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Sage Valentine, and I'm here to recap and review yet another episode of CBS's Big Brother Season 21. This video is all about episode number 30. You guys should be proud of me. Guess what? I watched the feeds 2 times this weekend. I know, crazy. Alright, so when I did my review recap video for episode 29, I said this, so if you heard this before, I'm repeating myself. For those of you who heard it the first time, listen up. Anyway, I watched the episode early because I have the WLNY 55 because I have DirecTV now. Years ago I didn't, but I have it now, so I'm taking full advantage of that whole thing. So I watched the episode when it aired at 9 o'clock, and then I told myself, you know what, I'm going to sit here and watch this HOH competition until it's done. And it was quite a feat to behold. Quite a situation to see, quite a sight to see, whatever you want to call it. It was that. And what I will say from watching the feeds was that Nicole tried as hard as she could. She was the most solid person up there. She wasn't saying a word. And just like was shown on the episode tonight, she got startled by the rainwater and she fell. So when she cried, I really felt bad for her because she tried really, really, really hard. So that was the first time I watched the feeds this weekend. Then on Friday, I went to a concert. Then on Saturday night, I watched it again because I had finished watching Power and Fear the Walking Dead. I watched the latest episodes like really early this morning. And they're going to probably show this on Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. But there was a fight, spoiler alert, between Holly and Jackson. And Jackson ended up kind of kicking Holly out of his HOH room, and then they ended up talking again, and then he's like having a conversation with her. She's very emotional, she's very upset, and he's kind of gaslighting her. It's just, it gives me Paulie and Zakiya vibes all over again. Like Paulie and Zakiya's fight was intense, but this was even worse because he had like, and by he I mean Jackson, had no feeling at all. You'll see when you watch it. Or if not, you can go online and check the videos. Hopefully Big Brother shows it in full and doesn't gotta chop it up, but Jackson doesn't look good at all. And if he thought that we didn't like him, but we kinda liked him now because of these edits and such that are shown in these episodes, we're back to not liking him again. And check social media if you haven't already so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's get down to this recap / review now that we got all of that out of the way. Jackson won the HOH. Last week, Nick was evicted. So during the HOH competition, Nicole wanted to win and contribute rather than allow everybody else to win for her and do things for her. And really, she's been trying hard to win all these competitions. And she is one of the few people this season who was not throwing competition. So to see her lose yet another competition is not only a blow to her, but it kind of makes me feel like sad for her because she's really, really putting her all and really trying. And as I said before, she was the most solid. She should have won that competition, but she got spooked. All right. Jackson's like, listen, I will win this competition, this HOH, if I have to, but really I want Nicole and Cliff to win, not Tommy. So we get to Christy. Christy feels safe regardless of what happens with this HOH competition, but she hopes that Tommy will win the HOH. She should not have put all her eggs in one basket. If she really wanted to really feel 100% safe, even with Jackson's deal that she was involved in, she should have won it herself. One thing I've learned about Big Brother over the years is that in order to really keep yourself safe, you have to have that HOH key. You have to have that veto in your hand. You really can't trust anybody else. Cliff wanted Nicole to win the HOH, obviously because Cliff feels safe. This is why Cliff should be a target, because Cliff feels very, very safe, and you don't need that type of person in the game at this point. Jess wanted to make a big move if she won the HOH and take out Tommy. And honestly, I kind of, after hearing this diary room session, wanted Jessica to win the HOH to see her go after Tommy, because I do believe that she would have been victorious if she had done that. The HOH comp as a whole was pretty hard, but that wall situation is always hard every season. Jessica ended up, you know, it's funny, when I watched it on the feeds, it looked like Jessica kind of threw herself off the wall, but when you're watching the diary room session, that gives the impression that Jessica just had to give up because she was in pain. But honestly, on the feeds, it looked like she kind of threw herself off dramatically so people would look at her like she wasn't strong, or she was weak, or she was kind of, as everybody online's been calling her, quote-unquote stupid. I mean, I feel like Jessica is like Yogi Bear, smarter than the average bear, so to speak. I'm not calling her a bear, but it's a saying. I feel like Jessica is playing a part, because you can't just flip on that whole thing she did with her HOH by getting out Jack and Jackson and just flip it off and you go back to being clueless and whatever you want to call it. I feel like Jessica is definitely playing an Oscar-worthy performance. Jackson said that that jump was dramatic. I was more focused on Big Brother's replay of having her fall and then end up back on the wall and fall and end up back on the wall was shady and funny. Then Christy kind of jumped down and kind of played off like she was emotional or something like that. And I'm looking at it like, Christy, you threw this because you felt safe. I could tell. But we didn't get a chance to see Christy jump down because I think at that point the feeds went out and then it came back and Christy was no longer up on the wall. The feeds, if you ever get the feeds during any of these seasons, especially when they have an extended HOH competition like this, a lot of times they go in and out and in and out, so we don't get to see everybody get disqualified from these competitions. And Christy was one of the people we didn't get to see. But as I said before, Nicole was comfortable. She had it. Jackson stayed on that wall. He was waiting for Tommy to fall because Jackson was going to give it to Nicole so Nicole could finally be the HOH. Well, as I said before, the water pouring down startled her and made her slip, and she fell. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad for her, and it was kind of sweet that Holly, Jessica, and Cliff came to her aid because she was pitiful. I felt so bad for Nicole. Holly, at this point, once Nicole is down, realizes, you know what, Jackson's going to have to win this. If I remember correctly, Jackson had like an injury or something was going on with his back. So when I saw him on this wall, part of me was saying, yeah, I don't think he's going to win this competition. But the fact that he outlasted all these people makes him a huge threat, a very big one, even with that injury. Now, Jackson told Tommy, you know what, you're good. I'm not after you. I'm not going to nominate you if you fall down. Now, Tommy, being the Tommy that we know in this game, he takes this deal because he's like, listen, I can keep myself safe. Christy's just going to have to do what she has to do. It is what it is, but how stupid can you possibly be to allow me to remain in this game and have a chance to win HOH next week during the double eviction? I don't know whether this was Big Brother telling us this is going to happen or willing this into the atmosphere, but yeah, take that as I just said it. Jackson is not 100% happy about winning the HOH. So Tommy would pretty much nominate Cliff and Nicole, and there's no way that Jackson could allow that to happen because he has a final four with Cliff and Nicole and Holly, and he has to protect Cliff and Nicole. Holly is thrilled, she's proud, but she's also terrified because both she and Jackson are repeat HOHs, basically back to back to back. Okay, Christy is frustrated because Tommy didn't win and she doesn't feel safe anymore. Then we get to the segment where Holly and Jackson are consoling Nicole and the Cliff comes in as well. Nicole is happy with Jackson being HOH, but she feels like she contributes nothing and that sucks. And they tell her, no, 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 sweetie, no, no, no. They try to calm her down, but I do on a side note hope that Nicole wins an HOH because once they get down to that four, Nicole will more than likely be the first to go. And mind you, I'm thinking of this Final Four scenario if, say, Cliff for some strange reason is out, or Holly for some strange reason is out. I feel like Nicole would be the weakest link, even though Jackson is saying Nicole is not. And some people on social media believe that Jackson wants to take Nicole all the way to the end. I want her to win something so she can keep herself safe. Jackson feels like he will have to nominate Jessica and Christy. So then Cliff is just like, you know, it's not good to go after Tommy at this point, or to not go after Tommy. But at the same time, he's like, you know, the HOH wants to go after Christy and Jessica, and I just gotta live with that. But really, he wants Christy and Tommy up there on the block, and not Jessica, because Jessica is not a threat. But again, he'll have to live with it. Jessica feels safe at this point, and I'm just like, how do you feel safe? Even if you're not the nominee, or you're not the perceived target, you're the last quote-unquote Mohican left in the house. You're the last person of color. I'm going to have to hark back to this, but I'm just going to go back to it. They got rid of every other person of color in this house. You are the last one left. Jackson was looking for some reason to get rid of you, and he found one. So Jack's list continues, and it will continue after that. But Jessica was always listed as the last person for them to get rid of from Jack's little list. If you don't believe me, you're trying to figure out what I'm saying, go all the way back and listen to what Jack said. He and Jackson and the 6 shooters had a list of people they wanted to get out, and if I remember correctly, if I'm wrong, I'll let you know, Jessica was the last one on that list, but she was still on it. All right, Jackson tells Christy that he has to use her as a pawn because Jess is his target. She's a liability. Christy's just tired of being on the block. I'm just like, sweetie, this is Big Brother. You're going to end up on the block at some time. And if you're really a big fan of Big Brother, you will realize that this is a scenario that can happen and has happened to better players than you at this point in the game. So just grin and bear it and try to win and make it another week, honestly. And yes, I do know what happened with the veto competition, so you don't have to tell me all about that. I know what happened. I'm trying to keep the spoilers at a minimum. So Jackson's like, he's trying to make it look like his and Christy's deal is done. And he's talking to Christy when he says this. Jessica is better than anyone at these mental competitions. Christy's like, she has to trust him. It is what it is. Now, Nicole still feels down. She really wants to see pictures of her family. Then we get this emotional segment with Nicole and Christy. Then we get another segment with Christy crying, and then Big Brother tells them that they love them, and Christy starts crying again. Jackson and Holly are kind of like rejoicing because Jackson is the HOH, and they're just like, they are sandwiched in between 3 different groups. You got Jessica here, Tommy and Christy, Nicole, and Cliff. And really, Jackson, made it seem like he's keeping Tommy and Christy safe, and he's keeping Nicole and Cliff safe. And when they make it down to the 6th, once Jessica's gone, Holly and Jackson will be safe because Cliff and Nicole, Tommy and Christy will be going at each other. That's what he thinks. But in reality, Tommy and Christy are looking right at Holly and Jackson, and they are definitely going to target them when they win in the double eviction. I'm not saying if, when they win. So, Holly thinks it might be smarter to evict Christy over Jessica. It would be. But Jackson has a bee in his bonnet, and Jackson wants Jessica out. So, Jackson's going to get what he wants. Now, Cliff says he trusts the 4 alliance that he's in, and he suggests becoming a pawn if the veto is used. Now, here's the thing with these pawns. This dude really must feel very safe to say that he wants to be a pawn, because in this game, nobody really wants to be a pawn unless they know they're 100% safe. And what if this plan went to hell for some reason and all of a sudden Cliff got kicked out the house or sent to jury? You never consider that scenario. Even though it seems like he's safe, this is still Big Brother. Anything can happen. I hate to say it, somebody could go in the diary room and say something or hear something come out and all of a sudden want to go after Cliff. Like, I wouldn't put myself in the line of fire. Even if I felt like I was safe, I would never do that. So then we see Tommy and Christy talking. Christy is upset with Tommy because Tommy didn't win the HOH, but at the same time, she doesn't tell him that. She tells us that. She tells Tommy exactly what Jackson said to her about her being a pawn and such. Tommy reveals that he made a deal to keep himself safe. Now, Christy tells us she is highly upset because if she had made a deal, it would have been for herself and for Tommy. And before I get to this next note, what I'm going to say about Tommy is something I've been saying for a very long time this summer, and I've said it over and over again. Christy, you are nothing more than a shield for Tommy. Because if Tommy really, really cared about you, he would have made a deal to keep you both safe. He doesn't care. Not at all. So then, Christy reveals to Tommy, she realizes that Jackson, Holly, Cliff, and Nicole are obviously working together because Jackson didn't think of or didn't mention anything about putting up Cliff and Nicole. And Tommy's like, you know, he had a suspicion of that as well. And I'm not surprised. I'm sure those of us who've been watching Big Brother for a long time understand to a certain degree what happens in the diary room where they're talking to people and they hint stuff. So I'm more than sure that they hinted that there is a foursome in the house and Tommy and Christy put 2 and 2 together. It just is what it is. Then we get a Cliff Notes segment, which to me feels like Big Brother is setting it up so that Cliff will get America's favorite player. But if the casual viewers really want to know about Cliff, they will, or they should, head online and check the videos and hear the things that he said about David and Ovi and Kimmy and different things. And he has it out for the women in the house and all this stuff. So the TV edit makes it seem like Cliff is this like sweet guy, and that's what I got from his first interview. But as far as how he's been acting in the house, it's a completely different thing. So find those videos or look around and talk to people who follow the feeds and ask around about Cliff, and you'll find out what Cliff has been up to before you make your decision for AFP. So Jackson tells Jessica that he's terrified to compete against her and Christy in a mental competition, and Jessica doesn't catch what he's saying throughout this conversation until he says that maybe he might nominate Jessica and Christy. And Jessica is just like, oh my God, he's gonna nominate me. Why? I don't understand. And I'm just like, Jessica, what are you doing? Like, he's gonna nominate you because you are a huge threat to him mentally, and also because you kicked out his buddy and you nominated him. So you kind of should have seen that coming. Yeah. So then Christy goes to the HOH room and she learns that if Jessica wins the veto, then Cliff will go up. And this makes Christy very suspicious of Jackson because she knows that if she's against Cliff, she's going to end up going to jury. So she decides to play nice and she says that she trusts Jackson because that's all she can do. Really, we find out that Jackson doesn't want, and he also tells her this, Jackson doesn't want Jessica to win the veto and take herself off the block, but he'd be okay if Christy won the veto and took herself off the block. So, then we get down to nominations. Jackson ends up nominating Christy and Jessica. Obviously, he'd been saying he was going to anyway. He said those two stand a chance of beating him, and you know, it is just a game, nothing personal. Really, he nominated him because they're mental threats in the mental game, and they can kick his butt in that. Jessica is his target, but you know what, Christy can go as well. Jessica had a feeling that Jackson was going to nominate her, but she tried to push it away and say, no, I'm safe. And she feels like an idiot for trusting him. Tommy is questioning if he should have thrown the HOH competition to Jackson, And if Christy goes, he'll feel responsible. Now, is this really how Tommy feels? Or is Tommy saying this because he's cognizant of the fact of the feelings of us fans in the fandom, so to speak? I hope you understood that sentence, because I know I probably messed up one word. But the point is, he knows how we feel and how it's going to look, and he wants us to vote for him for AFP. That's not anything new. People have done that before. Because it seemed like he was happy to jump down and he was just going to let Christy deal with what she was going to deal with. Because he's safe. Christy says that the contract she had with Holly and Jackson is null and void. And as soon as she wins HOA, she's going to put them both on the block. If she wins. And at this point, she really needs to win the veto. And that's about it for this recap / review of CBS's Big Brother Season 21, Episode number 30. I'm Sage Valentine. On Tuesday, I will be going live on TV Co. at 7 p.m. for a whole hour, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to join in on the conversation, add yourself in the link below. Click it and sign up, and you can join the convo. On Wednesday, my review will be on time. On Thursday, I plan on going live because it's going to be a double eviction, and I want to see what you guys are thinking. Will my review be late? I'll probably have that review up by 12 o'clock because I'll be taking notes as well as talking with you guys as well. If I can do two things at once, watch TV, talk to you guys, and take the notes. Well, actually, that's three things, but still. Anyway, join me on Thursday at 8 p.m. Is that 8 p.m.? I'll probably go live at like 8:45, and then I'll be live for an entire hour, so it'll be like 8:45 to like 9. I'll keep you posted on TV Co. and on Wednesday to let you know, but definitely join, and we all can chat and have a funky good time. I haven't said that in a while. Anyway, you all take care, and I will see some of you on TV Co. The link is below to the iOS app, and I think they also have an Android app as well. I'll be live chatting. BB21 chat. Love you all. Take care, and I'll see you then on Tuesday. And I'll be back on Sunday, and so on and so forth until the finale. Love you all. Bye, guys. Bye.